skill for engineers. So, dear student, as you are aware that in the first year engineering department, under the able guidance of Dr. M.S. Ali sir and our beloved respected head Dr. A.V. Kadu sir, we frequently organize so many programs for the student so that their holistic and overall development gets boosted. In continuation to that, today we have arranged a seminar or in fact webinar on the topic effective communication skill for the engineers. In this seminar, we have with us a speaker from the state of Gujarat. Let me give you the brief introduction of our today's speaker. Our today's speaker is Dr. Vasim Kureshi sir. Currently, he is working as an assistant professor in Vishwakarma Engineering College, Ahmedabad. Sir has vast experience. He having more than 18 years of experience. He is a recipient of Pedagogical Innovation Award in 2017. Sir has been very active in the writing field also. So, sir having a co-author of Active English book published by the Macmillan publisher. Sir is a reviewer for Standard 11 English textbook and Flamingo Supplementary Reader English for 11th school for the state of Gujarat, in fact board of Gujarat. Sir having delivered more than 40 plus lectures at various platforms, and he has published more than 20 research paper at national and international level. So to put more light on the topic, today's topic, that is effective communication skill, I would request Dr. Vasim Kureshi sir to start his presentation. So at the outset, once again, I welcome you, Dr. Vasim Kureshi sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. I hope I am audible to all of you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Rigved says, Anubhadra Kratovayantu Vishwatah, let auspicious thoughts come from all directions. And this is the time when we really require auspicious thoughts from all directions in our life. Dear friends, I heartily thank Professor Ram Meghe, College of Engineering and Management, to invite me to share my thoughts on the topic given to me. And it is also very, pleasure for me to have, talking with the students. Unfortunately, we cannot meet personally. I cannot fly to Amravati to visit you in one, big hall and to meet all of you. But this technology has given that advantage that, we can meet in that way also. I also extend my thanks to the principal, Principal Dr. M.S. Ali Saab, and my dear friend, Dr. M.I. Beg, Assistant Professor of Physics. Dear friends, as you are aware that we are going to discuss on a very common topic, that is communication skills. And for engineers, obviously, it is very important. Why it is important, what to learn, how to communicate, and ultimately the second part of my discussion will be on effective communication, how to make it effective. And then at the end of the session, we will have some time so that if you have some queries, I will try to give my answers to them. Dear friends, if you have any query, you can write it in the chat box. You cannot raise your hand and speak in between the session, because it is a kind of a restriction during the session. Moreover, if you find any presentation slide for my site interesting for you, you can take a screenshot and you can keep it with you for future reference. You can think over it and you can come back to me through email ID, right? I'll share my email ID with you also, and you can pose your question, right? Or you can share your experience. So without wasting time, I just want to start with my presentation. There are some slides which will show you some books that I have authored, and then we will just move to the discussion. I hope the screen is visible to you. Yes, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So the title of today's paper, today's discussion is effective communication for engineers. And I'm Dr. Vasim Kureshi, MA, MAd, MPhil, PhD English. Vasim_Kureshi@vgecg.in. This is my email ID. So in future, after the session, you can share your feedback, right, to me also. These are three various editions of the book Active English. Firstly, it was published by Macmillan, and now it is a textbook of English in diploma engineering courses by Gujarat Technological University, Ahmedabad. I've authored one more book, that is Personal Learning Environment, Pedagogical Tool for Digital Age. Two more books on tenses. Tenses a structural way, especially for those who want to learn, various structures of the tenses. And the same book was translated into Gujarati for our Gujarati medium students. Tenses Ek Saral Rajuat. I've also co-authored Introduction to English Language and Structure, and this is a language learning book for first year BA students from Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University, Bau, Ahmedabad. I have been connected with Gujarat State School Textbook Board. I've co-authored English textbook for Standard 12 and reviewed English textbook for Standard 11 and English supplementary for Standard 11 second language. Now, as I mentioned that, today I have divided my discussion into three parts. One is communication. We will discuss what communication is, and then give you some tips from my side how to make it effective, right? And then the queries if you raise. Otherwise, I have a lot of queries, discuss with you. अगर आपकी तरफ से कोई query नहीं आई, तो मेरे पास मैं क्वेरी रखूंगा और मैं चाहूंगा कि आप उसके आंसर्स मुझे दें, ठीक है? नाउ दिस इज वन क्वेश्चन. डू यू नो हु इज द वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया नाउ? आई एक्सपेक्ट योर आंसर्स इन चैट बॉक्स. माय क्वेश्चन इज, डू यू नो हु इज द वाइस प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ इंडिया नाउ? I just remove my stop sharing and coming to the chat box. See your answer. Okay, I got the answers. I'm getting answers. Wow, students are active, proactive, enthusiastic of the session. Venkaiah sir, Naidu, spellings are different. Some write NAIDU, NAYDU. Okay, so I got many answers. I hope the organizers also get the same answers through the chat box. I'm very happy to see the enthusiasm from the student side, right? Though it is online mode, students are active. Now let me share my question again. If your answer is Venkaiah Naidu, don't worry about the spelling. Or if your answer is Naidu, or Naidu sir, I cannot share my screen. Or is it? No, just a minute. Okay, thank you very much for all the answers. Almost everyone who has sent the answer. Yeah, so this was my question. Do you know who is the Vice President of India now? And almost everyone answers with Venkaiah Naidu or Naidu sir or V Naidu, etc. Let me tell you very frankly that no one gave me the correct answer. My dear friends, no one gave me the correct answer. Yeah, true. Shri Venkaiah Naidu is the Vice President of India, and Shri Ramnath Kovind is the President of India, and Shri Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister of India. And it is also true that you know the name of the Vice President of India correctly. But that is not the answer I expect. The correct answer from you must be either yes or no, because it was not my question, who is the Vice President of India? आप मेरी बात को समझते हो या नहीं? मेरा सवाल ये नहीं था कि भारत देश के उपराष्ट्रपति कौन है. मेरा सवाल ये है कि क्या आप जानते हो कि भारत के उपराष्ट्रपति कौन है? Right? I hope that you would be able to understand my concern. It was my question, do you know? So the answer must be yes, because you know. Or answer may be no if you don't know the answer. Right? But everyone gave me the correct answer, thinking that this is the correct answer. Obviously, Shri Venkaiah Naidu is the Vice President of India. But see, this is what communication is all about. My dear friends, I just want to focus on that thing. Now, let me give you one more question. You have to complete these sentences. Sentence number one, they is blank. And second is, I is blank. You can take a screenshot, keep it aside. Either you answer this question in the chat box now, or later you think. Definitely, I'm going to discuss this also with you today itself. Just वाला आंसर बाद में आया है ना. What about they is and I is? Or do you find that there is some mistake from my side? मैंने कुछ गड़बड़ की है. When I give a sentence, when I start, अच्छा, कुछ लोगों ने yes आंसर दिया था. I didn't see from the chat box. How can you complete the sentence which begins with I? And having having is, वो कैसे होगा? I just put a statement in the chat box. I hope that it must be visible to you right at your receiving end, because I am getting a lot of answers from your side. Yeah, एक आंसर मुझे मिला. They is plural. Yes, true. So basically, I got the answer. When you write I, usually the very first verb which comes to our mind is am, because when I speak about I'll say that I'm Vasim Kureshi, I'm from Gujarat, right? I'm from Ahmedabad, I'm teaching something. But when you take I as a a single word, it can be a letter of English alphabet, it can be a pronoun, right? I is always capital, right? This is also a sentence. Similarly, as a word is used in my example. So true. So I got all the correct answers from your side. Thank you very much for that, and congratulations for your correct answers. Now let's move ahead. Again, I'm sharing the screen and showing you the presentation from my side. Yeah, Paul Watzlawick is a communist theorist and he says that we cannot not communicate. जब हम बोलते हैं तो कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, लेकिन जब हम नहीं बोलते तब भी हम कम्युनिकेट करते हैं. जब मैं कहता हूं तब भी मैं कम्युनिकेट करता हूं, और जब मैं कुछ नहीं कहता तब भी मैं कम्युनिकेट करता हूं. नो वन कैन स्टॉप कम्युनिकेटिंग एट एनी मोमेंट. कोई भी व्यक्ति, वो इंजीनियर हो या इंजीनियरिंग पढ़ने वाला स्टूडेंट हो, एक क्षण के लिए भी कम्युनिकेशन स्टॉप नहीं कर सकता. अगर आपको ऐसा लगता है कि मैंने उसको आंसर नहीं दिया, तो वो भी आपका एक आंसर है, right? And particularly when you don't give an answer to a judge when there is a charge on you of some murder or theft and you keep mum, है ना, जज साहब आपसे पूछ रहे हैं कि क्या ये गुनाह आपने किया, क्या ये गलती आपसे हुई, क्या ये क्राइम, and you feel that I don't communicate, you keep mum, you don't answer, that is your answer. So silence is also an answer. Now these are varieties of things which are added to domain of communication, isn't it? Now let's move to the next idea. What is communication basically? Communication kya hai? So communication is not just speaking something. Communication is not just just saying something. बोलना वो कम्युनिकेशन नहीं है, राइट? या लिख देना वो कम्युनिकेशन नहीं है. कम्युनिकेशन इज मोर देन दैट, मोर देन दैट. Communication is two-way process. When I speak, what I expect from you, I expect you to listen to me. And when I say listen to me, that does not mean that you keep your ears open and you allow me you allow the sounds coming to your ears. Communication और particularly listening का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि आपके कान आपने खुले रख दिए और जो भी sounds आपके कान में आ रहे हैं, you just let them in. No. After all, or after that, you have to comprehend, you have to understand. And how can I know that you understood my message? How can I know that you understood my saying? You will respond. You will respond, right? Your responses will come, and then will make communication effective. So communication is a kind of an exchange of ideas, thoughts, emotions, right? We have a lot of ideas in our mind. We have a lot of emotions. We have feelings. We have thoughts. These things may be suggestions, maybe ideas, maybe recommendations, maybe anything. But I want to convey, and that is not one-way process. When I convey something, I expect responses from you. So it's a two-way process, and that's why it is sharing. It is exchanging of ideas, emotions between sender and receiver. So right now I'm speaking. You also write your messages in the. I'm keeping an eye on it also. So I am getting things from you. This is communication. It is exchanging of our thoughts, ideas, right? I am a sender, you are receiver, and we do communication through accepted code of symbols. You write in English, I can understand. But suppose you start writing something in Marathi. I mean, I don't know Marathi language. I'm so sorry for that. Or if I write something in any other language which you don't know, maybe Chinese language, start. So the language, the medium, symbols, the body language, whichever we select for communication, it should be common, right? It should be common, and that's what we have to discuss.
Dr. Vasim sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Your screen is not visible to us, sir.
Yeah, I have not. I'm not sharing my screen now.
Oh, okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, sir. Thank you.
So
Okay.
I'll show whenever I feel it to be. Otherwise, my face is enough.
Oh, okay, sir.
And my
Okay, sir.
talking is enough.
Okay, sir.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
Thank you. So communication की definition अगर हमको बनानी है तो कुछ ऐसे बनेगी कि it is an exchange of ideas, emotions, feelings, thoughts between sender and receiver through acceptance of symbols. There are varieties of definitions. I don't know, you people are going to write these definitions in exams, but in it is also part of theory, and हम बच्चों को लिखवाते हैं कि आप लिखो definitions, आपको ये लिखनी पड़ेगी. But for better understanding, there are certain things that I have discussed in this definition. It is exchanging what? Emotions, ideas, blah blah blah. कैसे करना वो हम बाद में सीखेंगे, right? And parallelly, it is also important to have a common platform, that is a kind of a link between the sender and receiver. It is accepted by both the parties. It can be language, it can be body language, it can be facial expressions, it can be a sign, it can be color, right? It can be color can also communicate. At a crossroad, चार रास्ते पर, चौराहे पर मैं मेरा व्हीकल लेके गया और अचानक वो ट्रैफिक सिग्नल रेड हो गया. What should I do? Obviously I have to stop my vehicle, right, till it turns into green. Nobody tells me that you have to stop your vehicle, but that is already conditioned in my mind that whenever there is a red signal, right, on the crossroads, I have to stop my vehicle. That color, right, indicates me communication. I know, that's why I stop my vehicle. So that is an accepted code. Similarly, you go to multiplex, you want to go to washroom. There are two doors, washroom for male, washroom for female, right? There is no word written on them. Male लिखा नहीं है MALE, या पुरुष के लिए ऐसा लिखा नहीं है. But there is a kind of a design, a structure where you feel that yes, this belongs to male, and that a washroom will be for female. So just because of the design, the structure, that we can say that a kind of symbol, right? So symbols are also there, right? Similarly, language, definitely language, it must be common. When we talk about English language, when I speak, when I have an audience, like teachers, faculties, I also give my lectures for teachers. My language, though I use English language, my language will be a little bit different than the language I'm using right now, है ना? पहले मैंने बात की कि भाई आपके बच्चों के साथ मैं हिंदी में बात करूं तो कैसा रहेगा. So अच्छी बात है, बच्चों को मजा आएगा, right? When we speak in a language of students, they feel very happy. Unfortunately, I don't know Marathi language, otherwise I would definitely love to speak in Marathi with you also. So even when a common language is used, levels of language is also taken care, right? Should be taken care when you select, right, for communication. Now I'm sharing one slide. The switching over will go on for the entire session. I don't keep sharing a screen all the time. Yeah, so this is the definition. Yeah, so this is communication skill, communication cycle. Now communication कैसे होता है? Theoretically, I am a sender, I have an idea is converted into a message. I try to transmit that idea to you, you are receivers at other end. What I'll do is I will try to select a channel, a platform, a media, right? And through that platform, through that channel, I'll share my ideas to you. You are receiver, right? You are going to receive my idea. When I change my idea into a message, I do a process of encoding. एक encoding करूंगा मैं. मुझे कुछ बोलना है, मुझे कुछ लिखना है, मुझे मेरी बॉडी लैंग्वेज बतानी है. Right? So I will encode the message. when you receive my idea, when you receive my message, receiver, you will try to decode the message. Now, अब जब मैं एनकोड करूंगा तब मैं ये ध्यान रखूंगा कि आपको डिकोडिंग में कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आनी चाहिए. And when you are going to decode my message, I will make sure that you know how I encoded the message. So, encoding or decoding, they must go in sync, right? Now, once you receive the message, try to understand, you try to comprehend, you try to analyze, and you will give your feedback, you will give your responses. जैसे मैंने आपकी तारीफ की है ना, when I praise you, तो क्या होगा, तुरंत आपके मैसेज आएंगे, थैंक यू वेरी मच सर. या फिर आपका चेहरा मुझे दिखेगा तो आई विल सी स्माइल ऑन योर फेस, योर फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस. दैट इज अ फीडबैक. Unless you give me feedback, I will not be sure whether I have communicated completely, correctly or not. So to complete this communication cycle, I must expect feedback from your side. And that's why when I put a question that, do you know who is the Vice President of India, what I expected, I immediately went to the chat box to see कि आपको मेरी स्क्रीन दिखी, आपको मेरा क्वेश्चन, आपको मेरा क्वेश्चन समझ में आया, हाँ आया, आपके आंसर्स मुझे मिले. सो जैसे आपके आंसर्स मिले मुझे पता चला कि यू आर रिस्पॉन्डिंग. ठीक है, वो आंसर्स यस वाले बहुत कम बच्चों के आए, यू वर रिस्पॉन्डिंग, and that is what a feedback is very important in entire communication cycle. Now, when we look at communication type, basically it is verbal and non-verbal. वर्बल का मतलब होता है शाब्दिक कम्युनिकेशन, हम वर्ड का इस्तेमाल करेंगे. When you use words in your communication process, it is verbal communication. And when words are not there, right, without using words, when we communicate, it is non-verbal communication, है ना. शाब्दिक और अशाब्दिक हिंदी में हम बोलेंगे. शाब्दिक में हो जाएगा written communication, and second one is oral communication. With these written and oral communication, we have all four skills, basic language skills, LSRW: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In the second part of my discussion, I will focus on these four language skills also. So written communication है तो आपको पहले read भी करना पड़ेगा, वो आपको आना भी चाहिए, and then you have to learn how to write, right? When there is an oral communication, you have to learn how to listen. कैसे सुनना चाहिए हमको, right? कैसे उसका comprehension करना है, and then you will be able to speak any language correctly, and you will be able to communicate effectively, confidently with anyone in the world. Parallelly, we have to learn non-verbal components also. Basically there are four. One is kinesics. It is related to movements. The second is proxemics. That is about distance. The third is chronomics. That is about time, pauses, silences. And fourth one is paralanguage. It is about the quality and the manners of your verbal, right, or oral, particularly oral communication. क्या बोलना वो important है, लेकिन कैसे बोलना उससे भी ज्यादा important होता है, particularly when आप इंटरव्यू फेस करोगे फ्यूचर में. अब ले लीजिए कि आपको आपका टेक्निकल क्वेश्चन पूछा गया और आपको पूछा गया कि भाई इसका आंसर क्या है ना. जैसे आई टेक एन एग्जांपल ऑफ दिस वाइस प्रेसिडेंट डे, है ना. आपको ये सवाल पूछा गया कि who is the vice president of India? Now this is question. See, listen to me carefully. I hope that you will enjoy and you will learn. And इंटरव्यू में सवाल पूछा गया, who is the vice president of India? आपका आंसर ये है और इस तरह है, आप आंसर दे रहे हो, है ना. सपोज दिस इज नॉट वसीम कुरैशी, दिस इज यू, वेंकैया नायडू. I repeat my answer, Venkaiah Naidu. Now the expressions and the way of speaking that answer suggest that you are trying to get confirmation from the the expert or from the. कि क्या मेरा आंसर सही है? You see, it looks like a question, not an answer. So that is called parallel language. Parallel language का मतलब ये होता है आप कैसे बोलते हो. Later in one slide we'll definitely a little bit in detail about that. But these are various types. Looking at levels, there are 4 types. Interpersonal, we are talking. Humans are discussing. This is interpersonal communication. We have intrapersonal communication at psychological level. When you talk to yourself, आप जब आपसे बात करते हो, standing before the mirror, because there is a special program in college or there is a party somewhere. Now you are being ready for your show. तो आप मिरर के सामने खड़े हो, आप अपने साथ बात करते हो. That is called intrapersonal communication. Sometimes when we are frustrated or sometimes when we are very much overjoyed, we try to talk to ourselves. That is intrapersonal communication. Major part of communication is intrapersonal communication. This is what my observation is. The third one is extrapersonal communication. When a human communicates with non-human entities. A dog comes to you, you know the dog, you talk to the dog, and dog responds to it also. That is extrapersonal communication. Mass communication is communication with a big mass. Man Ki Baat by the Prime Minister of India is an example of mass communication. News reporters or newspaper reading, or right now, I am sitting in my college, you are sitting at your places. You are not in college at this moment, but you must be attending the sessions, sitting from various places. In mass communication, we must require technological support, medium through which we can get connected. Looking at the flow of communication, we have various types. One is downward communication. In December 2021, one company named Better.com, there was a short meeting on Zoom by its a CEO, and within that meeting, the CEO fired more than 700 or 900 employees in one short meeting. He said that once you are invited to this meeting, I have brought a very sad message for you. You are fired. I'm so sorry to say that. And the meeting was over within 10 minutes. This is downward communication, right? Principal sends a message to heads of the department, and the department heads sent those messages to the students. So it comes from top to bottom, and that is called downward communication. Now you go in the reverse direction from bottom to top. That is called upward communication, right? A student has an idea. He or she shares that idea with faculty. Faculty goes to the principal, and principal will try to implement, right? We requests, we have kind of recommendations, we have proposals, right? These are upward communication entities. Then horizontal, people of equal level have communication. All the principals meet somewhere to discuss some issue. That is horizontal communication. We have crosswise communication. एक अथॉरिटी बहुत ऊपर लेवल पे है, लेकिन वो अपने डायरेक्टली नीचे पर नहीं, लेकिन अपने नीचे से किसी और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन से बात करते हैं, and that is called crosswise communication. Right now I am doing that crosswise communication. I'm talking to students, but these are not my students, these are not my I mean my students, in the sense these are not students from my institute. अगर मैं अपने बच्चों के साथ बात करता हूं, when I take my class, it is downward communication. But you are students, but you are from the other institute, so that is crosswise communication. Then there is grapevine communication. द्राक्ष की जो वेल होती है, it spreads in all directions. VINE, vine, right? So when there is no structured form in terms of flow of communication, कहां से बात आई और कहां जा रही है हमको पता ही नहीं है ना. Particular are everywhere. They spread just because of the grapevine communication process. These are just things which you can keep in your mind. Now, if you want to improve your communication, and these are some barriers that we have to either remove them, eradicate them, or we have to make. पहला जो barrier है वो है linguistic barriers. There may be many. I've selected these five because basically I feel that these are very much important for you to. Uh, what is linguistic barriers? Linguistic barriers का मतलब ये हुआ कि language जो है language, वो सबसे बड़ा barrier हमारे लिए create करता है, right? Barrier, language. As I gave you, now I'm not sharing my screen, huh? So you can see me and you can see, you can listen to me now. So language is a very important tool to communicate, obviously. Along with the language, we are going to add a lot of non-verbal elements, definitely. But मेरी भाषा जो है वो जरूरी है. When I received this invitation, I wanted to keep it on my social media, on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, WhatsApp. I tried to connect with Maharashtra, so I wrote a simple line: thank you very much, Maharashtra, for this invitation. And then I tried to convert it into Marathi language, right? I had some friends in Marathi, with Marathi background. I shared it with them कि ये जो मेरा translation है वो सही है या गलत है, and they say yes, it is correct. And then I put in Marathi and English both with the flyer that your institute prepared for this session. Why? Because language can connect you with others very easily, right? But at the same time, language can be a barrier. It can create barrier. It can be an obstacle if you don't know the language. I go to China, I don't know Chinese language. Definitely somewhere my communication process, my body language, my expressions, my gestures, they will help me, but not all time. Obviously, not all time. Because every time I can communicate with those people in a different land, right, without having link language. इंग्लिश नहीं आती, मुझे नहीं आती, तो ठीक है, थोड़ा बहुत गुजारा हो जाएगा. बट आई नीड टू either learn Chinese language a little bit, working Chinese language, और इतनी लैंग्वेज के कम से कम मेरा गुजारा हो जाए. मुझे 5 दिन रुकना है तो 5 दिन मुझे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं आनी चाहिए. Similarly, I have to make sure that they can understand some English words which I know, right? And I must know. So language barrier जो है वो बहुत important है. Engineers in India are learning their stuffs in English language. National Education Policy 2022 has emphasized even this technical education in vernacular language, and that is a big area to discuss. अभी उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे brainstorming चल रहा है. Recently we organized international conference by the government of Gujarat in Ahmedabad recently, and this was one thrust area कि भाई टेक्नोलॉजी का जो ज्ञान है वो हिंदी में दिया जाए, मराठी में दिया जाए, गुजराती में दिया जाए. प्रोज एंड कॉन्स हैं, बट अल्टीमेटली इफ यू वांट टू टॉक टू द वर्ल्ड, language can help you. So linguistically we have to be competent enough to communicate. ठीक है? If I speak English to you, my level of English would be such so that you can understand me. लेकिन एक बहुत ही एलाइट, आपने शायद शशि थरूर का नाम सुना होगा. श्री शशि थरूर, the member of parliament, basically he's a politician but he's a writer, and when he speaks, when he writes, his English is absolutely stunning. फाडू English, एकदम खतरनाक English. Once he answers journalists for some issues, जर्नलिस्ट को सोचना पड़ता है कि साहब क्या बोले, अब उसी लैंग्वेज में इवन व्हेन आई रिफर टू शशि थरूर, आई हैव टू कीप डिक्शनरी ऑन टू फाइंड आउट द मीनिंग कि यार ये है, you know, every time you come up with one or two or many new words. Now if a teacher, common teacher, all teachers in your institute and Vasim Kureshi speak that way to communicate with you, I mean that would be very terrible for you to understand. That is English, definitely, but that is not of that level. Sometimes jargon language is used. You know, jargon language का मतलब होता है कि किसी एक specific field की अपनी खुद की language. I can suggest you to refer a legal language. You know, किसी का document आप देखो, अगर कोई दिखाता है तो उसकी जो legal language है, you know, court कचेरी की language, I mean that is very different. It is English, but it is very different, right? If you refer a report, pathological report, or maybe medical reports, a doctor can understand. A doctor can understand. I could find one word calculus in one report. You know, stone में, sorry, kidney में या body में कहीं पे stone है, so medical में उसको calculus बोला जाता है. And I have heard that word so many times because you know we have faculties of mathematics and they teach calculus. No, in academics, calculus का मतलब होगा एक subject mathematics. It's a part of mathematics. In medical term, it's a different thing. So that is called jargon language. If a person from a particular background, particular domain speaks in that language, it would be difficult for other than, you know, that domain. A layman will not be able to understand. I can suggest one name, this writer, Chetan Bhagat. Chetan Bhagat is very popular, right, among Indian readers, and he's considered one of the most read Indian authors, right? One of the most read Indian authors. Why? Because his language is so simple. You can very easily connect with his language. He knows कि मुझे popular बनना है, मुझे मेरी book को you know popularize करना है, what to do. So he has selected the language. Parallelly, when you read a book by Salman Rushdie, I mean the language is absolutely difficult for you to understand. So language plays very important role, but parallelly it can create barriers if there are some, you know, difficulties at that level. Second is psychological barriers. Second barrier is about psychological barriers. हमारे अपने विचार, हमारे अपने ख्याल, right? Parallelly I do a lot of things. मैं WhatsApp पे आंसर दे रहा हूँ, कोई आके बैठा है, right? मुझे नाश्ता भी करना है और मैं लेक्चर दे रहा हूँ, मेरे दिमाग में तो बहुत कुछ चल रहा है, कल संडे है, ये करना है, वो करना है, शाम को दूसरी मीटिंग है. If I ride on multiple horses, can I do that? No. If I'm not a master of multitasking, better I have to keep one. In communication, if we are psychologically disturbed, we cannot communicate effectively. So effective communication के लिए important है, psychologically you must be calm. हमको शांत रहना है. हमको, you know, we have to be in tune with the flow of that communication process. हम बहुत ही charged हैं. We are emotionally imbalanced and we are doing communication. We have a lot of prejudices. बहुत सारे prejudices हमारे दिमाग में हैं. बहुत सारी पूर्वग्रह हम लेकर के चलते हैं. बहुत सारे, you know, psychological notions है, right? We are very much disturbed at personal level. So there are a lot of things which will disturb us and it will, you know, disturb the entire communication process. The third one is physical barriers. You know, physical barriers. आवाज आ रही है, that is physical noise, right? Psychological noise in the channel. You know, जैसे we are talking through the technology, if there is some disturbance, it's a physical, you know, connectivity or, you know, physical barrier. Then we have one more, that is cultural barrier. You know, culture plays a very important role. If we are not aware of the cultural background of all the communicators, will not be able to justify. Just say, I wanted to talk to Marathi background students. Maybe you are from English background, but you are basically from Maharashtra, and Maharashtra is one of the finest states in India. So as soon as I got the invitation, I try to फाइंड आउट कि भाई आपका जो एरिया है वो कैसा होगा, आपकी इंस्टीट्यूट कैसी होगी, आपको पढ़ाने वाले लोग कैसे. आई जस्ट go through the profile of your faculties, principal sir. Yeah, I'm so happy to see that one of the renowned people are teaching you in your institute. I'm so happy to know that. So that is your cultural background which was there in my mind when I was preparing for my session. So मुझे वो जानना पड़ेगा, right? If I have to deliver lectures somewhere, right, maybe in abroad, maybe in some other area, I have to understand the cultural nuances. उनके, because in my college we have students from across the country. We have students from Jammu Kashmir, Bengal, Punjabi, Maharashtrian, and there are many students from Kerala and Tamil Nadu also. For some years, we have been having students from foreign countries as well. अब मेरे क्लास में एक कैमरून का बच्चा आके बैठा है ना. कैमरून इज अ वेरी पुअर कंट्री फ्रॉम अफ्रीकन रीजन. अब अनलेस आई डोंट नो कि ये बच्चा कहाँ से आया, उसका कैमरून क्या है, मोजाम्बिक क्या है, इफ आई डोंट नो द कंट्रीज, if I don't know about the culture, I cannot teach them well. तो मुझे वो जानना पड़ेगा, because I am a teacher of communication skills. I have to make it sure. और मैं जो उसको एग्जांपल्स दूंगा वो एग्जांपल्स ऐसे होने चाहिए कि वो उसको एसोसिएट करे, राइट, उसको समझ में आए. उनकी लाइफस्टाइल, उनका कल्चर, उनका सोशल सेटअप, इट्स ऑल टुगेदर डिफरेंट देन अवर्स. ऑब्वियसली even in our India, a lifestyle in Bengal is very different than the lifestyle in Tamil Nadu. कल्चर का वेरिएशंस जो है हमको समझना पड़ेगा. तो कम्युनिकेशन में these are the things that we have to keep in our mind. And the fourth one is organizational structure. मुझे मेरे प्रिंसिपल की कैबिन में जाना है तो मुझे डर लगता है, यार क्या होगा, सर बोलेंगे. That is also a kind of organizational environment that we have created. There are some people who go to the principal's cabin, right? It's a formal communication, लेकिन बड़ी is there are some organizational barriers which will definitely stop your communication or destroy the effect of communication, right? तो हमको ये barriers को भी समझना है, right? Now we have to talk about how we can make our communication effective, and there are four things, LSRW basically, but I'm just sharing my presentation again. I hope that it is visible. Yeah, let's talk about how to create effectiveness. है ना, effectiveness बढ़ाने के लिए क्या करना है? So the natural process of learning any language is in this sequence, LSRW. I have just given all these four skills in a jumbled form. Varieties of options are given, but the last one is LSRW: listening, speaking, reading and writing. है ना, बच्चा स्कूल जाता है पहली बार, तो ये होता है कि बच्चा कुछ कुछ बोल लेता है ना. उसको ये पता नहीं है कि ये सामने जो लिखा है बोर्ड पे टीचर ने वो ए फॉर एप्पल है, या उसके हाथ में अगर हमने पहले दिन पेन पकड़ा दी और उसे बोला कि आपको लिखना है, राइट. अ चाइल्ड वांट्स टू राइट समथिंग ऑन द बुक और ऑन द स्लेट. Child does not know how to write, but yes, he knows how to speak in very raw style. But बच्चा अपनी काली मैली जुबान में बोलेगा, राइट. क्यों बोलेगा और क्यों बोलता है? Because a child is given a lot of exercises in terms of listening. उसने बहुत कुछ सुना है. As soon as a child is born, when the child is given to the relatives hands or maybe the mother's lap, बच्चा सबसे पहला काम सुनने का करता है. माँ बोलेगी कि ओ मेरा प्याला बच्चा, मेरी आंखों का तारा, मेरा दुलारा, ब्ला 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 ब्ला. At that time the child does not know what this lady is speaking, है ना, उसको पता नहीं है, लेकिन वो सुन रहा है. Gradually the child grows up and now the child knows how to associate. ये माँ है, ये माँ नहीं है, लेकिन ये दादी है, ये दादी नहीं है, ये कोई और है, right? Parallelly the child tries to understand the sounds, right? When you speak माँ so many times, ये तेरी माँ है, माँ बोलेगी मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, the child will associate that ये मेरी माँ है, and gradually those words will be spoken because the child has ample opportunities to listen. So the very first skill that we have to focus for any language, for learning any language, is listening. The more and better listening you do, the better speaking you will do. जितना अच्छा आप सुनोगे, जितना ज्यादा आप सुनोगे, उतना अच्छा आप बोल पाओगे. I'll give you some examples of certain words in terms of their pronunciations. But if हमारे सामने अगर कोई अच्छा बोलने वाला है, now YouTube and OTTs and Netflix, and there are a lot of opportunities right now at your fingertip, where you have ample opportunities to listen. हाँ, वो सही हो वो आपको ensure करना है, और वो अच्छा हो वो भी आपको ensure करना है, because there are a lot of things which are not advisable, but you are wise enough to select proper learning material, और सॉरी लिसनिंग मटेरियल. आप सुनोगे तो आप बोल पाओगे. उसी तरह अगर आप ज्यादा पढ़ोगे, रीडिंग करोगे, तो अच्छी वोकैबुलरी के साथ लिख पाओगे. सो दिस इज वेरी नेचुरल प्रोसेस. Again, it is about a Gigo magazine. Gigo magazine says that garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर हमारे कानों में गार्बेज डाला गया, हमारी आंखों में गार्बेज डाला गया, तो वो गार्बेज आंखों में या कानों में नहीं जाता, वो हमारे दिमाग तक जाता है, राइट? माइंड विल ट्राई टू एनालाइज, उसको ऐसा लगेगा यही सही है. राइट नाउ द सोशल मीडिया और वेरियस प्लेटफॉर्म्स अवेलेबल on the internet are doing the same thing. Garbage in. If they provide you authentic resources to learn, it would be wonderful. So there is an input called listening, there is an input called reading, right? If it is garbage, as an output in terms of speaking, in terms of writing, we will speak out garbage. So instead of gigo, we have to give प्रॉपर इनपुट्स. तो हमारा इनपुट्स हम जो सुनते हैं, दैट्स व्हाई आई सेड कि अच्छा आप सुनो, सही सुनो. उसी तरह अच्छा पढ़ो, सही सुनो. यू मस्ट हैव वैरायटीज ऑफ मटेरियल्स फॉर योर रीडिंग एक्टिविटीज आल्सो. एंड वंस यू लिसन, ट्राई टू स्पीक. वंस यू रीड, ट्राई टू राइट. एवरी डे मेक श्योर कि आप कुछ ना कुछ बोलो. एवरी डे मेक श्योर कि आप कुछ ना कुछ लिखो. इंग्लिश में लिखो, इंग्लिश में बोलो. राइट? अगर आपकी अपनी लैंग्वेज में भी मराठी, हिंदी और वट एवर योर मदर टंग इज, अगर यू वांट टू improve your communication skills in that language, again this is the exercise that you have to do. I am helping my students in my institute. मैं उनको यही काम देता हूं. आज ही मैंने एक मैसेज ड्रॉप किया कि आपको एक न्यूज़पेपर कटिंग लेना है, उसको पढ़ना है, आप पढ़ोगे. तो दैट इज एन एक्सरसाइज ऑफ रीडिंग. उसके बाद आप उसके बारे में बोलो. 5-10 मिनट के बाद, एक 5 मिनट 10 मिनट का आपने रीडिंग किया, न्यूज़पेपर कटिंग को बाजू पे कर दो. उसके बाद आप उसके बारे में बोलो. whatever you understand, whatever you comprehend, whatever you know, you can add your own viewpoints. Don't worry, because nobody is going to check कि आपने जो पढ़ा और आप जो बोल रहे हो वो सेम है. नो, nobody is going to examine. आपको बोलना है, और बोलोगे तब आप क्या करोगे? आपका रिकॉर्डिंग करोगे. And if possible, it can be video recording as well. Not only the audio recording, but video recording. So keep the video, I mean keep the mobile phone in such a way that कि आपका torso के ऊपर का भाग आपको visible हो. Because I'm going to discuss non-verbal elements as well. तो आपने एक आर्टिकल पढ़ा, उसको बाजू पे रख दिया, कैमरा ऑन किया और आप उसको बोल रहे हो. So your speaking will be exercised. Parallelly, try to write it somewhere on the paper. कहीं पे लिखने का भी प्रयत्न करो और आपका अपना वीडियो, आपका अपना ऑडियो आप सुनो, right? The base was the news article that you read. So reading, speaking with video, or maybe in audio form, and then you write also, and then you listen to your own sound, your own video, and try to improve. You can share such things to your teachers of English. If you have teachers of English communication skills, you can share it with me through email कि सर ये मैंने लिखा आप देख लीजिए, right? And you can get the suggestions from the experts of the subject. So this is an exercise which you can do. Now, listening and hearing, these are two different things. आपने कुछ सुना, कहीं से आवाज आई, सुन लिया, that is just hearing. But when you try to focus on those sounds, and after hearing, when try to comprehend, when you try to analyze, and that must result into a kind of a feedback, a kind of a response. एक छोटा सा जोक में सुनाऊं और उसके बाद कोई भी हंसता नहीं है, सब ऐसे ही देख रहे हैं मुझे, nobody laughs, right? तो मुझे ऐसा लगेगा यार ये जोक पता नहीं चला क्या. So hearing was there, but listening was not done. So hearing is a physiological activity, where sound waves go to your eardrums, tongue, and the is over. But after receiving sound waves, the nervous system will send those things to your mind. Your mind will start interpreting. The mind will give you, a kind of orders, और आप उसको आप हंसते हो because it's a joke. आप गुस्से हो गए क्योंकि you're not happy with the things. आपको दुख हुआ, अरे बाप बच्चे के साथ. You are sad. You want to kick someone because कोई ने गाली बोल दी आपको. You start clapping because you are happy after attending the session. So these are various responses just because of your listening. So hearing is physiological activity, listening is psychological as well. Hearing involves your ears, but listening involves your mind and nervous system. Hearing is compulsory, listening is not. And hearing is compulsory. If you are in my class, you cannot close your ears. आपको सुनना है क्योंकि मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मेरे साउंड्स निकलेंगे. मेरे साउंड्स जो है वो you big studies from physics, so उसके तरंग आएंगे, आपके कान में जाएंगे, तो वो तो है ही है. लेकिन after receiving the sounds, it is up to you to listen to me or not. सुनना नहीं सुनना आपके पास है ना? आपको listening करना है नहीं करना, it is up to you. You may not respond to me, you may not respond to the sounds. So listening is absolutely voluntary. Know how to listen and you will profit even from those who say nothing. And that is what Plutarch, a great philosopher, has said. Now, if you want to improve your listening, in future, if you go for getting admission in abroad, अगर हमको foreign जाना है, तो IELTS, TOEFL exams देनी पड़ेगी. Or usually in these exams, we have LSRW, and listening, speaking, reading, writing. When you combine all these 4 skills in a very beautiful and presentable manner, that is called effective communication. So listening will be one component, and I just give you some ideas how to improve. Usually I take 2-3 hours session on listening only, but today a topic is very broad and we have very limited time, and I feel that the students are enthusiastic, so I just share some ideas. In future, if time permits, we will meet again to discuss on these topics, because each topic requires much and thorough discussion, right? So listening में हमको क्या करना है? roar, receiving the information, organize the sounds, assigning meaning and reacting. ठीक है? तो information आई मेरे पास, मैं सुन रहा हूं, someone is listening to me, right? आपका हेडफोन है, आपने गैजेट ऑन किया है, now you receive the information, you try to organize the sound. ये जो बंदा बोल रहा है वसीम कुरैशी, ये कौन है, ये क्यों बोल रहा है, मैं क्यों हूं, ऐसे सवाल मत करना यार प्लीज. You try to organize, yes, this is the topic, he's a faculty, my college is organized, and these are the things, you are arranging the things in proper way, and you try to assign the meaning, because ultimately each and every point that I'm sharing, obviously for me everything is important because I'm sharing, but at the same time you must feel that yes, there is some importance, right, and there is some meaning to each and every. मेरी body language इसका कोई meaning होगा, right? When I clap, आपको पता चलना चाहिए मैंने क्यों clap किया, right? When I smile, right, there must be a meaning, so you have to assign that meaning when you listen to someone, and then you have to react. That reaction can be clapping, smile, sadness, anger, whatever. Along with listening, if there is a visual, तभी तो हम जैसे सुनते हैं, सिर्फ सुनते हैं, उससे ज्यादा कॉम्प्रिहेंड करते हैं जब हमारे सामने उसका विजुअल्स भी आए. जैसे देयर आर सो मेनी एक्सपेरिमेंट्स डन इन पास्ट कि भाई बच्चों को एक सुनाई जाती है, सुनो क्लासरूम में, बच्चे सुनते हैं आराम से, the script goes on, they cannot see anything on the screen. और वो स्क्रिप्ट सुनने के बाद इफ अ टीचर आस्क सम क्वेश्चन, राइट, सम क्वेश्चंस, तो ये पता चलता है कि बहुत सारे बच्चों को बहुत सारी बातों की खबर नहीं हुई, राइट, बट देन यू डू द सेम एक्सपेरिमेंट विद द सेम ग्रुप इन अ डिफरेंट, अब आपके सामने वीडियो आ गया, वही स्क्रिप्ट अब वीडियो में आपको दिख रही है, नाउ यू सी व्हाट गोज ऑन. सो इफ यू ट्राई टू लिसन, do both the activities. All the time it is not important, it's not possible that you have the videography of that script, right? Sometimes you just have to focus on listening. So if visual presentation is not you have to understand and comprehend those speaking components which are in audio form, है ना? तो ये भी एक प्रैक्टिस हम कर सकते हैं. So kindly do this practice so that you can improve your listening. Listening with a purpose, listening objectively, without any bias, without preconditioned mind, without generalized statements कि भाई ये लेक्चर में तो यही होगा यार, क्या करें, ठीक है साहब ने बोला तो आ जाते हैं. That is kind of and subjectivity. So forget about that. Listening constructively. When you listen to me, try to construct new ideas. मुझसे अच्छे एग्जाम्पल्स शायद आपके पास हो सकते हैं, मुझसे अच्छा प्लान शायद आपके पास हो सकता है, and if you have, please share those things with me, and if you can do that activity parallelly, while you are listening to me, and mind starts working in constructive way कि यार ये बंदा जो बोला ये करने जैसा है, and parallelly multitasking, you think कि भाई लेक्चर के बाद मैं वो न्यूज़पेपर लूंगा या लूंगी और मैं ये करूंगा और करूंगी और इसको और अच्छे ढंग से ऐसे कर सकते हैं. That is what you are listening construct. For better listening, remove obstacles, listen for keywords, phrases and hints, establish eye contact. Eye contact is very, very important for any communication process. Unfortunately, online communication, I mean, we cannot keep eye contact. I hope that, and that's why, when I take my lectures in my college, very few faculties like me keep the video on throughout the lecture. कि कम से कम बच्चा अपना वीडियो ऑन नहीं करता तो ठीक है, लेकिन बच्चा जब गैजेट मुझे सुन रहा है तो उसको ऐसा लगना चाहिए कि वसीम कुरैशी इज प्रेजेंट, he is teaching me, he is there. So that eye contact is in online classroom teaching learning process, but whenever you communicate with someone, try to keep eye contact. आपको सुनना है, आंखों से आंखें मिलाइए, आई कांटेक्ट कीजिए, ठीक है, डोंट गिव अप. कुछ सुना आपको पता नहीं चला, नेवर गिव अप, ट्राई Try, you will definitely improve. To get connected through repetition, repeat करवाइए, movements, energy, creativity, clarity, credibility, cultural thoughtfulness. There are a lot of things which you can add in that listening process. सिर्फ हमको शब्द सुनने नहीं है, शब्द के साथ उसके मीनिंग्स, उसके भावार्थ, उसका कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड, उसका हिडन मैसेज, राइट, द मैसेज बिटवीन द लाइंस. These are varieties of things which you can add into your listening process, right? Now I want to give you a tongue twister. Listen to me carefully, and if you can try, you can try it, try to translate it into Hindi. ठीक है? To improve English, you have a lot of tongue twisters available on the internet. Even in our mother tongue, you can find tongue twisters. Two witches are watching watches. I don't know which witch is watching which watch. My tongue twister is over. Huh? Two witches are watching two watches. I don't know which witch is watching which watch. So see, you can find alliteration. Vananupras alankar. वर्ण से शुरू हुआ, t t t t t, sorry, which watch. Somewhere watch is used as watch, somewhere watch is used as a verb to watch, right? Which is a question and which is a which, dial, and the spellings are different. So you can play with certain exercises, right? So it will be a fun to learn. Now the second part is speaking. When we speak, the very first area that we have to focus is pronunciations. It's not pronunciation, and it's a pronunciations. I've written two words, snacks and snakes. देखिए दोनों वर्ड्स हमारे गुजरात में तो ज्यादातर बच्चे मैंने ऐसे देखे हैं कि वो सेम ही उच्चार में बोलते हैं. रेस्टोरेंट में गए और क्या मंगाया, स्नैक्स मंगा लिया, और वो रेस्टोरेंट वाला उनको स्नैक्स भी दे देता है, वो खाते हैं, बिल देते हैं, चले जाते हैं. Being a teacher of English and being a teacher of language, I feel elevated. I laugh a lot when certain dialogues happen around me. snacks, उसको बोला जाएगा snacks, broad just like aeroplane, just like apple. It's not apple, it's apple, right? When you try to speak snakes, it's a plural of snake, तो वहां पे उसका pronunciation अलग है. So snack मतलब हुआ नाश्ता, refreshments, light food that we take. And snakes, वो reptile है ना, snakes, snakes. Unless we know the difference, we will not be able to speak correctly. अभी तो मेरी एक बात मैंने कुछ समय पहले आपको बताई कि सही वाले को सुनिए, राइट? अच्छा बोलने वाले को सुनिए. तो सही बोलने वाला अगर आपके आजू बाजू है, आसपास है, तो आप उसको सुनिए. Even when you select some listening material from the internet, try to make sure that must be correct in terms of pronunciations, right? Let me give you some more examples. Sir and sh. Now, not only in English, even in Hindi, even in Marathi, even in Gujarati, even in Urdu, right? We make such mistakes very commonly. Self or shell, self or shelf, boss and English. काफी मेरी कॉलेज के बच्चे मुझे ऐसे बोलेंगे कि ये हमारे इंग्लिश के साहब है, इंग्लिश, नॉट इंग्लिश. और मुझे ऐसा लगेगा यार तेरी इंग्लिश इतनी बुरी है, डोंट से दैट मैं तुझे इंग्लिश पढ़ाता हूं, राइट? सो इट बिकम्स अ जोक सम टाइम. इट इज नॉट इंग्लिश, इट इज इंग्लिश. So being a teacher of a language, being a teacher of communication skills, we have to focus. Now this is useful not only to engineers, not only to engineering students, but to all. Even when you are going to face interview, when you are to make presentation, right, to an international delegation, when you are appearing for IELTS speaking test, right, or simply when you are discussing in a casual meeting or a party in a very casual, informal way with some, people like you, your pronunciations matter a lot. Attention, please. ये जो slant में जो design है, that is called phonetic design. Right now there is no need to discuss about the phonetic design, but if you refer good dictionaries, nowadays dictionaries not only provide the meaning of the words, they also provide the correct pronunciations. अब printed form में अगर dictionary है, तो वो एक particular symbol को represent करेगा. That integration sign जो है, it is for sh sound, right? Let me show you the earlier slide. Yeah, this design SELS, है ना, छोटा s जो दिख रहा है, that is about sh sound. But when there is integration sign, it is for sh sound. SUGAR. It is not sugar. It is sugar. Sh should be spoken. Same SURE. It is not sure. It's a sure. Just like when you see S in your spelling, sometimes the pronunciation is not sir, not sure, but z. Music, rose, use, cousin. Again, there is a tongue twister in which you can find sir and sh together, and you can, just enjoy speaking this sentence correctly at your home, right, time to time, and try to record it, try to look at it, try to read it, listen to it, and try to correct it. She sells seashells on the seashore. Similarly, we make a lot of mistakes when the pronunciation, like short I and short E and long E. हिंदी में हम उसे कहते हैं दीर्घ ई और ह्रस्व ई, है ना? So PILL, it's pill, but PEEL, it's not pill, it's peel. छिलका निकालना, right? He is peeling off the orange. Till, hill and heel. Chip and cheap. Here is chief. I hope you understand all these varieties of pronunciations, and these are some areas where many students make mistakes. हमसे गलतियां बहुत ही commonly हो जाती हैं. So pronunciations को improve करना जरूरी. You can just speak these words again. SEEP, seep, SHIP, and SHEEP, sheep. Similarly, sit, eat, shit, sheet. Again, you can take the screenshot, keep it with you. You can practice, you can share your learning experiences with your faculties, with me, right? And the last word, which is at the bottom of my presentation, is suggestion. हम उसे suggestion कहते हैं. That is also an accepted pronunciation, but the correct pronunciation is not suggestion, it is suggestion. आखिर में अगर TION है तो यूजुअली वो शन होता है, लेकिन TION के एग्जैक्टली आगे अगर S है तो उसको चन च साउंड आपको दिखेगा. It is suggestion. You must be surprised to know this pronunciation. आपको ऐसा लगेगा यार ये कौन उठा लाए गुजरात से. एक सिंपल वर्ड है जो मैं आपको दे रहा हूं, क्योंकि मुझे ये भी प्रूव करना पड़ेगा कि मैं जो पढ़ा रहा हूं वो सही है. अदरवाइज यू विल हैव अ लॉट ऑफ डाउट्स, है ना. SUGGESTION, इसका सही प्रोनाउंसिएशन है सजेशन. आई नो दैट यू हैव डाउट्स एंड आई एम हियर टू क्लैरिफाई इट. एक वर्ड मैं आपको दे रहा हूं और वो वर्ड है QUESTION. At the end of that word, you can find TION, but it is not shun. I hope you can compare these two words. So question को बोलने में हमको कोई question नहीं है, लेकिन similar ending वाले word suggestion के लिए हमारे दिमाग में बहुत सारे question. and this is not fair, right? So try to learn j and z. Again, this is a big area where we need to learn and improve. Jug, gender, bridge, zender, zoo, zebra. But it is not pleasure, it is not pleasure, it is pleasure. j is a different sound. अगर मैं आपके सामने होता क्लास में और मैं ये बोलता तो मेरा चेहरा और भी फनी लगता आपको. And the same funny face should be made when you do practice. Just stand before the mirror and try to speak this pleasure. j. It is not j, it is not even z. j is spoken in jug and z is spoken in zoo. ये जो साउंड है ये इन दोनों का कॉम्बिनेशन है. This sound is available in English. I don't know it is available in Marathi or not, but in Gujarati, in Hindi, we don't have that sound. Take a test tube, the sound, add z, zoo वाला sound, उसको stir करो और आपको एक नया sound pop up होके मिलेगा. That is j sound. Pleasure, decision. Right? So this is learning. When you keep your mind open, keep your eyes open, when you keep your ears open, and when you observe things around you, that yes, this is interesting, yes, this is correct, or this is somewhat I can rely on, you will have a lot of inputs, correct inputs, varieties of inputs. Try to interpret, try to make it sure, or फिर उसको exhibit करो in terms of output. PIZZA, it is not pizza, it's pizza. Half the is there. Yeah, parallelly, when you speak, you have to make sure on non-verbal components. Non-verbal components में जैसे हमने पहले देखा, kinesics, we have gestures. जब हम बात करते हैं, तो generally communication में सिर्फ और सिर्फ word के ऊपर focus नहीं होता. As I said, gestures, the way person repeats some small behaviors. जैसे कुछ लोग हैं वो बार बार गाल खुजा लेंगे, स्क्रैचिंग और हेड करेंगे, they will touch the nose, they will make the collar properly. तो वो बार बार उनका होता रहता है. Some students keep the pen in hand and they keep tuck 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 all the time. I don't know why. And it is not a part of that communication process, but it happens and the teacher will stop you. Oh, don't do that. So there are some gestures which are repeatedly done. The posture means the way you sit, your body position, the way you stand, the way you walk, right? आप कैसे खड़े हो, कैसे बैठे हो, कैसे बोलते हो, right? So during the time, your body position is very important. That is posture. Third is facial expressions. आपके चेहरे के हाव भाव, है ना? आपकी expressions through your face. How can you show your anger? How can you show your happiness? Those who are attached with theatric drama में जो connected है, या जो those who are interested in drama, they must be aware. Mime करके एक प्रकार है drama का. And that performance does not have any dialogue or any sound at all. Just by facial expression, they will show. Obviously, body language is there क्योंकि वो act करते हैं, but they show their anger. South India में when they have a dance like Bharatanatyam, the facial expressions, and they are very loud. Loud in terms they don't have any sound. They are loud in terms of conveying the message. Then comes body language. मेरे क्लास में बच्चे ऐसे बैठते हैं तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि यार मैं इतना कितना बुरा पढ़ाता हूं, right? But usually they don't sit like that. They sit like they are enjoying the class. So body language conveys the message कि आप कितना receptive हो, वो आपको बताएगा कि आप कितना proactive हो, वो बताएगा कि आप कितना उसको comprehend करते हो. A good teacher goes to the class, looks into the eyes of the students, और उनको पता चल जाएगा टीचर को कि आज ये जो बच्चा है ये बेंच पर उसका मूड नहीं है, It happens with me so many times. तो लेक्चर के बाद या चालू लेक्चर में मैं उसके पास को बोलूंगा क्या हुआ, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है, what is the problem, why you are not here in the class. This is just because of the eye contact. This is just because of the body language, right? Are you getting bored today? Are you not interested in lecture? What happens? And the teacher changes the method or the topic or maybe of discussion. Proxemics, distance between people, and that is also very important. Kitna distance hai? And just because of that distance, that physical space, we can assume the relationship between those communicators. Parallelly, there may be psychological distance as well. Chronomics means pauses, silences, right? Time का गुजरना बहुत जरूरी है ना. Time can heal, so let the time pass. समय पसार हो जाने दो और ऑटोमेटिकली उसके सारे दुख जो है वो खत्म तो नहीं होंगे लेकिन कम हो जाएंगे, उसका एहसास कम हो जाएगा. So sometimes we allow time pass, है ना. So that is chronomics. Para language, आप जो कहते हो वो कैसे कहते हो वो इम्पोर्टेंट है ना. Venkaiah Naidu, now this is a question, it is not an answer. My question was, who is the Vice President of India? When you say Naidu sir, the way you answer is not an answer at all. I hope you understand. If you refer good Hindi movies or maybe any movies, there are some dialogues. मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, पैसा है तेरे पास क्या है? Amitabh Bachchan from the movie Diwar. And Shashi Kapoor answers in one single line, very short and single line. Amitabh Bachchan was already an established actor of that time, and he was given a very heavy character in that movie. और उसका डायलॉग भी देखो, मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, पैसा है. The voice is different. He has very solid voice even. लेकिन शशि कपूर जो है वो आंसर देता है कि मेरे पास माँ. The word माँ is spoken with patriotic elements. उसमें वो जान डाल दी. And now that dialogue, मेरे पास माँ है, becomes more impactful than मेरे पास गाड़ी है, बंगला है, पैसा है. That is called para language. अरे ओ सांबा कितने आदमी थे. People still remember those dialogues from the movies because of the way of its delivery. para language में टोन आएगा, प्रोनाउंसिएशन आएंगे, स्ट्रेस आएगा, एम्फेसिस आएगा. There are a lot of things which will be added into para language, right? So again, para language is also very broad area to learn, but इसको थोड़ा अपने तरीके से समझना. Now, when we look at reading, reading is fun. ये 4 स्किल में सबसे ज्यादा बोरिंग बच्चों को जो लगती है वो रीडिंग स्किल लगती है. बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली व्हेन यू रीड देयर इज नो अदर एक्टिविटी. आप सुनते हो तो कोई बोल रहा है, आप डिस्कस करते हो तो कुछ आप लिख रहे हो, तो योर बॉडी वर्क्स इन दैट वे. बट रीडिंग बिकम्स वेरी बोरिंग. यू कैन मेक इट फन, राइट? इट शुड नॉट बी अ काइंड ऑफ अ टॉर्चर. You have to select that material for reading which is appealing to you, which is interesting. एक छोटी कहानी से आप शुरू कर सकते हैं. Definitely you are engineering students, इंजीनियरिंग में इंजीनियरिंग स्टफ पढ़ना, उसको कॉम्प्रीहेंड करना, वो तो करना ही हमको. But parallelly, if you want to improve your communication, you can start with small story book. एक छोटी सी स्टोरी. सुधा मूर्ति जी की बुक्स इंग्लिश में है, बहुत ही अच्छी बुक्स है, सिंपल इंग्लिश. या कोई ऐसी पिक्चर स्टोरी आपने ले ली, या ऐसे बुक और ऐसे मैगजीन्स विच आर ऑन जनरल टॉपिक्स. टेक एन आर्टिकल. सो इफ दैट मटेरियल appealing to you, you will not be having more effort to read it. वरना क्या होता है कि आपको बहुत एफर्ट्स लगाने पड़ेंगे. पेंसिल्स आपके साथ रखिए, एक टेबलेट और लूज लीफ. You need to note down some points. Keep an open mind. This is always essential, right? Whenever you want to communicate with anyone in any form, in any way, right? Keep your mind open. Highlighter. right? So highlight the things in the book itself, and then maybe a good dictionary help you to understand. और रीडिंग करने के बाद आपको सिर्फ रीडिंग डज नॉट मीन यू जस्ट हैव टू रीड आउट, है ना? रीडिंग मीन्स यू हैव टू कॉम्प्रीहेंड. रीडिंग मीन्स लेटर यू कैन रिकॉल इट. हम किसी चीज को पर्टिकुलरली व्हेन वी अबाउट द स्टडी, एग्जाम में मैं बैठा तो मेरे दिमाग से वो सारी बातें गायब हो गई, इवेपोरेट हो गई. क्यों? क्योंकि मैंने जस्ट रीड किया था. आई डिडंट कॉम्प्रीहेंड, आई डिडंट अंडरस्टैंड, आई डिडंट रिहर्स. सो रीडिंग डज नॉट स्टॉप टाइम ऑफ द लास्ट फुल स्टॉप ऑफ योर राइटर. माइंड इट. रीडिंग का मतलब कि सर आपने 2 पेज दिए थे, 2 पेज पढ़ने में मुझे 10 मिनट लगी, मैंने पढ़. आप कुछ पूछना मत, मुझे कुछ नहीं आएगा. नो, दैट इज नॉट रीडिंग. द रीडिंग is definitely a part of reading is that उसके बाद उसका comprehension करना, उस comprehension के बेस पे उस rehearse करना, और उसी बेस पर आपको उसको recall करना है. So after some time, when you just try to refer that article which you have read some time ago, you will be in position to talk on that. You will be in position to write on that. You will be in position to speak on that in any form. That is recall. That's why earlier, if you are very much attentive with today's session, शुरुआत में मैंने बोला कि आपको एक न्यूज आर्टिकल पढ़ना है, उसको बाजू पे रख दो 10-15 मिनट पढ़ने के बाद, और कुछ देर के बाद you just have to write it down, you just have to speak, you just have to take your video. देर के बाद, that means after reading, right? If you leave, see, Chronomics comes here. थोड़ी देर पहले हमने देखा Chronomics, टाइम चला गया, आधा घंटा आप दूसरा काम कर रहे हैं, कुछ नाश्ता वास्ता किया, स्नैक्स नहीं, राइट? दोस्तों से बातचीत की, आधे घंटे के बाद अब आप वो आर्टिकल को रिकॉल कर रहे हो. आफ्टर हाफ एन यू आर ट्राइंग टू राइट, यू आर ट्राइंग टू speak, you are trying to make a video on that. If you can recall, if you can recreate, if you can communicate, your reading is done with complete comprehension. Okay, so these are some points that you can just refer. There are some strategies: reduce the distractions, discover the perfect time for reading. People say that सुबह में जल्दी उठ के पढ़ोगे तो अच्छा याद रहेगा. People, 4 लोग बोलेंगे तो बोलने दो, लेकिन आपको जो टाइम अपने लिए सुटेबल लगता है, in my student life, I used to get up late in the morning. I always awake till late night. रात के 3 बजे तक, 4 बजे तक मैं पढ़ता, लेकिन सुबह में कोई 6 बजे उठा देता या उठ जाता तो ब्रश करके चाय पी के फिर से सो जाता था. I couldn't read at all in the morning, early in the morning, right? So you have to discover your own time. पे किस पोजीशन में, या मेरी एक बहुत ही खतरनाक स्ट्रेटेजी थी, मैं बैठ करके नहीं पढ़ता था. आई ऑलवेज वेंट टू माई टेरेस, है ना? टेरेस पे जाता और चलते चलते पढ़ता. व्हेन आई वाज अ स्टूडेंट, आई यूज्ड टू कीप द बुक ओपन, केप्ट इट इन माय हैंड, एंड आई वाज वॉकिंग. ये किनारे से उस किनारे तक, उस किनारे से ये किनारे तक धाबे पे चलता रहता. So by walking, I was reading. That was my habit here. You don't have to worry about that, but you have to discover the best way, the perfect timing for reading. Keep some snacks with you. Read in sections. बहुत ज़्यादा पढ़ना है, उसको छोटे-छोटे पार्ट में डिवाइड कर दो, right? So these are certain things which you can keep in your mind. एक छोटा सा सेंटेंस मैंने लिखा है. You must be reading it. It is visible on your screen. And one question is given. Any other clues have I given? Reading सबने किया, comprehension, उसका analysis, उसका understanding, और can you elaborate this idea? You cannot take bath in the same river twice. I mean, it's a philosophic sentence, obviously. It is said by Osho Rajneesh in one of his lectures. Two words are focused, not, same. Not word is in capital. Grammatically, it should not be there, but I have kept it capital because I want to highlight that word. And same is in slant, right, in italics. अब देखिए non-verbal communication यहाँ पर आया, right? Sentence is given, that is verbal communication. It is written, that is written communication. But I have added a kind of flavor. थोड़ा मैंने मसाला ऐड कर दिया. दो शब्द को मैंने अलग तरीके से हाईलाइट किया. Because I want you to comprehend this sentence in that way. तो वो not important है. You cannot take part. Same river, you know, there may be some other river, but not same river. Now, philosophically, there may be varieties of answers, and we don't have time to discuss. I hope that you are writing your answers, you are thinking on it, and in future you'll just give your inputs. But let's go to the fourth skill, that is writing. Brevity, shortness, accuracy. Your writing must be accurate. Completeness, sentence जैसे if से शुरू किया, if you help me, comma, then you keep full stop instead of comma, और पीछे sentence कोई आता नहीं है तो वो incomplete sentence है. Your writing should be in proper order, है ना? It should be in proper order. It should follow a kind of a common link. It should be in proper flow. You have to focus, emphasizes on various things. हम जो लिखते हैं, earlier जो मैंने लिखा उसमें मैंने दो वर्ड को emphasize किया. One was not and the other one was same, right? So that is my emphasis. Consistency, your writing must be consistent. It starts with introduction, there may be development of your ideas, and at the end it concludes something. And objectivity, it should be objective. Obviously, as a writer, you must be subjective, but parallelly, you have to make it that you give very objective description of the things. Sometimes you can just make some active on writing something, on given cues. Some cues can be given, and you have to develop a story. Or there was an exercise which I used to do in my class. I gave them half story, and literally half. Once upon a time there was a king and blah 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 blah, and suddenly there is an incident happened. और मैं बोलता हूँ ऐसा हो गया. अब इंतजारी बढ़ गई सबकी. अब क्या हुआ होगा? I say no, I don't know anything. Now you have to complete the story, and that could be a creative story. That would be a complete story in sense of English, in terms of grammar, in terms of sentences, and then you have to share it with the class. See, so when the students start working on that, उनका दिमाग काम करेगा, उनकी vocabulary काम करेगी, उनका communication काम करेगा, or based on my story, either they will add characters or they will remove characters or they will add some situations, and many times they come up with varieties of ants. So this is wonderful exercise. You can take half story from somewhere, don't read the other half, and you can just try to complete that story. Similarly, dialogue writing, I have just kept this a small dialogue for you. We don't have much time, otherwise I can have your answers and we can have discussion. Just read it. There are 4 dialogues given. 2 characters are there, one by one they speak, and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 dialogues can be written by you. Make sure one thing, you cannot add any more character here, and after these 4 dialogues, 1, 2, 3, 4, you don't have to add 5th one. So the 4th one is the last one, and at the end of this entire dialogue of 8 sentences, right, there must be a kind of a complete message out of it. समझ गए मेरी बात? ये आपका होमवर्क है, ये असाइनमेंट है. आपको क्या करना है, 4 लाइंस मैंने दी है, उस 4 लाइंस के बेस पर 1, 2, 3, 4 लाइंस आपको ऐड करनी है. इट इज इन सीक्वेंस. ए ने बोला, बी बोलेगा, फिर ए बोलेगा, फिर बी बोलेगा. 4 के बाद 5वां डायलॉग आपको ऐड नहीं करना है, और ये आपको इंश्योर करना है कि आपके 4 डायलॉग कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे. उसके बाद कुछ मीनिंग होना चाहिए. इट इज नॉट जस्ट रैंडम कि भाई ठीक है कुछ पता ही नहीं चला. नो, देयर मस्ट बी सम मैसेज, देयर मस्ट बी सम काइंड ऑफ मोरल ऑफ द स्टोरी. ठीक है. So again, take a screenshot. You can do the exercise, share it with your teachers, share it with me later. And these are my 4 tips to include all the things together. Read and listen more. Try to write and speak, make it a habit. Observe, learn, and exercise non-verbal elements. Keep faith in you and in your efforts. So this is the end from my side. If you have any question, I will be happy to answer. I hope that I have not bored you, right? It must be useful to you. Over to you, Dev sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Here I will unmute you all. If you have any query, you can raise through your. You can unmute and you can raise your query. Deshmukh sir. Just a minute. Deshmukh sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
We can unmute the participant.
We unmuted all participants.
Okay. So if anybody having any query, they can speak. No issue. So even if you are encouraged to ask your query in Hindi, no issue.
Even you can speak in Marathi,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah, it will be translated. Feel free.
Yes.
इन लेक्चर के बाद में सवाल तब नहीं होते जब या तो हमको सब कुछ समझ में आ गया हो या फिर कुछ भी समझ में ना आया हो. I don't know where we are.
Yes, yes, yes.
My video is not working. There is some. Is it on?
No, no, sir. Might be
I
some.
The video is not working. Anyway,
Yes.
I will connect. I will be connected through the audio.
Okay.
Suddenly
So
there is some
through
problem.
chat, we are getting very
Yeah,
encouraging
that's it.
response, sir.
Yeah.
So I have seen two hand raise from Durgesh Rathod and Ganeshwari Vighe. Do you want to ask anything?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, okay.
Dhaneshwari?
Fine.
No, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
हेलो
Yes.
Yes, please.
सर, आपने तो बता दिया कि हमको कैसे रिएक्ट करना है, कैसे बात करनी है आगे वाले से, यानी कैसे अपना जवाब देना है, कैसे समझना है. पर वो हमारी बात पे रिएक्ट ना करे तो हम क्या करें सर? हमको पता चल जाएगा वो उसकी उनकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज के को हमको स्पीक नहीं कर रहे से अच्छे से, फिर उनके लिए क्या करें सर?
हाँ, ये ना देखिए, वो सामने वाला अगर हमसे रिएक्ट ऐसे करता है कि हमको ये पता चला कि उसको ये पता नहीं चला जो हमको पता चलाना है, तो वी हैव टू एंश्योर कि हमको हमारी हमारी जो बात है वो अलग तरीके से या हमारे अलग मेथड से उसको प्रेजेंट करनी पड़ेगी. समझे मेरी बात?
यस सर, यस सर.
ठीक है ना. सो दैट्स व्हाई उनका फीडबैक हमारे लिए तभी इसीलिए इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. एज ए टीचर व्हेन वी गो टू द क्लास, जैसे हम पढ़ाते हैं, हमको पता चला कि यार ये बच्चों के ऊपर से जा रहा है, तो फिर मैं क्या करूंगा कि विवेक व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम. विवेक बोलेगा सर ये आप जो बोल रहे हो पता नहीं चला. तो ठीक है, विवेक का लेवल क्या है, तो वो बेचारा थोड़ा कमजोर बच्चा है, पूरा क्लास कमजोर है. सो टीचर जो है वो बच्चों के लेवल पर आकर के उनके एग्जांपल्स दे करके उनकी इजी लैंग्वेज में उनको समझाने का प्रयास करते हैं. ठीक है ना.
ठीक है सर. थैंक यू सर.
ओके, थैंक यू विवेक.
So any other participant who would like to ask any query? Instead of raising hand, you can unmute and you can ask your question. So from our side, we have make that thing happen for you.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, suppose we have problem of communication skills, so how we handle this situation?
Communication skills में problem है. Which kind of problem you are talking about?
सर सब चार लोग हैं तो बात करने में प्रॉब्लम होती है, तो वो कैसे हैंडल करें?
उसको दूर करने के लिए आपको you have to remove the fear. You know, basically the problem begins with a kind of an unknown fear which does not exist at all. And एक डर हमारे दिमाग में है, and just because of that fear, we either avoid any kind of communication or we feel that there is a lot of communication problems. Now, to remove the fear, you have to jump into water. You know, otherwise we are not able to learn swimming. And so similarly, if you keep on communicating with all your efforts, जैसे विवेक ने बोला कि उसको पता नहीं चला तो मैं मेरी मेथड को चेंज करूंगा, राइट है, और मुझे ये पता चला कि मैंने कहीं पे कुछ गड़बड़ की है, राइट, सो आई विल ट्राई टू इम्प्रूव लेटर, बट इफ आई कीप ऑन कम्युनिकेटिंग फ्रॉम माई साइड, आई होप दैट यू नो slowly and surely I will be able to remove the fear, and that will definitely enhance my communication skills. ठीक है वैष्णवी?
Got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sir, Tushar Deshmukh has written something in chat.
Yeah, I'm just ready. Sometimes while we have a conversation, the confidence level is low, or the fear, for that how we overcome that fear and confidence. Yeah, तुषार मैंने वही बोला कि it's a good question, definitely, and this is what I answered Vaishnavi कि मुझे डर तो लगेगा ही, it is very natural. See, you are absolutely unknown to me and I am absolutely unknown to you. I have been a faculty of 18 years and I have been teaching communication skills. लेकिन मेरे दिमाग में भी ये तो डर रहेगा कि यार आखिर में बच्चे कैसे कैसे सवाल मुझे पूछेंगे. This is very natural. But how can I overcome this situation? The best method is to be a part of it. हमको उसमें जंप लगाना ही है. हमको अगर एक्टिंग करनी है तो स्टेज पर जाना ही पड़ेगा. हमको अगर स्विमिंग करना है तो हमको पानी में कूदना ही पड़ेगा. If I don't jump into water, in any case I'm not able to be a swimmer at all. I cannot be a good swimmer just by reading books written by Michael Phelps, the greatest Olympians, right? बहुत बड़ा ओलंपियाड है, उसकी किताबें पढ़ के मैं स्विमर नहीं बन सकता. तो आज या कल मुझे पानी में कूदना ही पड़ेगा अगर मुझे एक अच्छा स्विमर बनना है तो. सो वी हैव टू एक एडवर्टीजमेंट की जिंगल है कि डर के आगे जीत है ना. सो आपको वो प्रोसेस में आना ही पड़ेगा, राइट? जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द फियर, इफ यू डू नॉट कम्युनिकेट, you have to make sure that you have access to certain situations. आपके टीचर के पास गए, आपने इंग्लिश में बात की, आपने छोटा सा व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बना लिया, राइट? उसके अंदर आप इंग्लिश में कम्युनिकेट करते हो, आप सुनते हो, आपने अपना वीडियो बनाया, अपना ऑडियो बनाया, आपकी यूट्यूब चैनल है, आपने यहाँ पे उसको अपलोड किया, आप टीचर्स को शेयर करते हो, एंड यू जस्ट ट्राई टू गेट द ओपन क्रिटिसिज्म. लोग आपको बोलेंगे यहाँ पे ये आपने गड़बड़ की, यहाँ पे ये गलती कर दी, यहाँ पे आपका प्रोनाउंसिएशन गलत है, यहाँ पे आपके चेहरे के एक्सप्रेशंस सही नहीं थे. दिस इज समथिंग दैट इज व्हाट वी हैव टू डू, एंड दैट इज नॉट हैपनिंग ओवरनाइट. एक रात में नहीं हो पाएगा, है ना. इट विल टेक सम टाइम, बट ग्रेजुअली डेफिनेटली डू दैट, राइट? स्टेज दूर करने के लिए भी आपको स्टेज पे आना पड़ेगा, आपको बोलना पड़ेगा. या कमिंग टू द अदर पार्ट ऑफ द फियर. फियर दो वजह से है. एक है कि एक अननोन फियर है कि यार क्या लोग बोलेंगे, गलती हो जाएगी, और दूसरा फियर ये होता है वाकई में हमारा इंग्लिश इतनी अच्छी नहीं है. सो फॉर दैट व्हाट वी नीड टू डू इज वी हैव टू लर्न सम बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर्स. कुछ वोकैबुलरी भी हमको चाहिए, कुछ सेंटेंस स्ट्रक्चर्स भी हमको चाहिए, कुछ ग्रामेटिकल कंपोनेंट्स भी हमारे दिमाग में होने चाहिए. सो उसका भी हम थोड़ा ध्यान रखें. And then we have to face situations to remove fears.
Okay. We will just take 2-3 more questions. We have just left with only 5 minutes. So
Yeah, one question from Aditya. Sir, अगर फ्रेंड को एक बात मुझे एक्सप्लेन करनी है पर वो अपने को इग्नोर करे। अब इग्नोर का मतलब ये हुआ कि तुम उसको फ्रेंड मानते हो, वो तुमको फ्रेंड नहीं मानता। सो दैट्स अ साइकोलॉजिकल रिलेशन विथ योर फ्रेंड, और वो आपको इग्नोर करता है। सो देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन, राइट, टू इग्नोर द पर्सन, राइट। इफ योर थिंग इज इंपॉर्टेंट, इन एनी केस यू हैव टू शो द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ दैट थिंग टू योर फ्रेंड। जब तक कि उसको आपकी बात इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं लगेगी, वो आपको नहीं सुनेगा, है ना। सो कैसे करना, कैसे कम्युनिकेट करना, दैट इज रिलेटेड टू कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स। बट लेकिन वो सुनना ही नहीं चाहता आपकी बात, तो इट्स अ बिग इश्यू साइकोलॉजिकली। लेकिन वो इग्नोर करता इन द सेंस उसने सुना लेकिन अनसुना कर दिया। बट जस्ट बाय ऑब्जर्विंग हिज बॉडी लैंग्वेज और हिज बिहेवियरल चेंजेस, आपको ये पता चल गया कि यार उसको पता चल गया लेकिन वो अनसुना कर रहा है, उसका कोई रिएक्शन नहीं आया। अर्लियर आई सेड दैट नो रिएक्शन इज ऑल्सो अ रिएक्शन, नो कम्युनिकेशन इज ऑल्सो अ कम्युनिकेशन। फिर आपको ये तो पता चल गया कि उसको पता चल गया है, ठीक है, वो करेगा फ्यूचर में रिएक्ट। वेट एंड वॉच।
सर
या
अभी देखते हैं सर, बहुत सारे बच्चे 11th-12th में ही कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम की प्रिपरेशन के लिए स्टार्ट करते हैं। तो बहुत सारे बच्चे ऐसे होते हैं जिन्हें अपना ड्रीम कॉलेज नहीं मिल पाता। तो ये सब चीज़ें सर हमारे कम्युनिकेशन स्किल पे और हमारे मेंटल एबिलिटी पे बहुत ज़्यादा अफेक्ट करती है। तो सर हम कैसे समझे कि हम वो बच्चा डिप्रेशन में है कि नहीं है? बिकॉज सर रिडक्शन इन द कम्युनिकेशन स्किल इज़ वन ऑफ द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ डिप्रेशन। तो सर हम उस डिप्रेशन से कैसे ओवरकम करें, उस पास्ट से कैसे ओवरकम करें और हमारे फ्यूचर पे कैसे स्ट्रगल करें?
that's why when you read or when you think, try to get the things which are very positive to you, you know. Without positive attitude, that is not possible. Yesterday one student came to meet me in my college. We are completely in online mode, but she came specially to discuss. और वो बच्ची सेम 1 से लेकर सेम 7 तक शी वॉज वेरी एक्सीलेंट। आई हैव सीन हर ग्रोइंग, but in 3 placement drives she was not selected, and she was a little bit frustrated, in a very negative mood she came कि सर ऐसे बच्चे के जिन्होंने कुछ नहीं किया वो सिलेक्ट हो गए, 7 लाख का पैकेज, 8 लाख का पैकेज मिला, एंड यू नो मी। मैंने बोला हाँ ठीक है। नाउ आई जस्ट आस्क हर to look at the brighter side, you know. बॉडी लैंग्वेज से हमको ये पता चलता है कि सामने वाला फ्रस्ट्रेशन में है, सामने वाला डिप्रेशन में है। दिस इज व्हाट आई एड वन पॉइंट समवेयर कि भाई आपको अपने आसपास जो भी लोग हैं, जो भी घटनाएं हैं, उस पर एक नजर रखनी है। कीप ऑब्जर्विंग थिंग्स एंड दैट विल गिव यू अ काइंड ऑफ अ साइन कि भाई यस ये मेरा दोस्त या मेरा रिलेटिव या मेरा नेबर ये डिप्रेशन में है। एंड इंस्टेड ऑफ टॉकिंग ऑन दैट इश्यू, you can just have some other topics which is, you know, relevant to the person, which is interesting to the person, and let the person in your conversation। उसको एक विश्वास में लेना पड़ेगा, है ना। फिर धीमे से उसकी दुखती नस पे आप हाथ रखो, उससे पूछो, और उससे ओवरकम करने के जो भी सुझाव है वो आपको देने पड़ेंगे। that is a kind of a psychological treatment, it is not just communication, it is psychological soothing। आज क्या प्रॉब्लम है मालूम है कि सुनने वाला कोई नहीं हमारे पास। I have a lot of things, लेकिन किसके साथ मैं शेयर करूं? And you know, when you keep your hand on someone's shoulder, when you keep eye contact when someone is, you know, distress, वो बहुत कुछ बोल पड़ेगा, इतना बोलेगा कि आपको इमेजिन नहीं होगा कि यार इतनी सारी प्रॉब्लम होती है। You know, I have been in contact with a lot of students personally, और जब आके रोते हैं, बोलते हैं, तो ऐसा लगता है यार इतना सब प्रॉब्लम है दुनिया में, you know। But there is a role of a teacher, there is a role of a friend, there is a role of a human being to you know, help them to be out of you know, those distressful situations, right?
Sir,
Yeah, please.
so what are the greatest challenges of a good communication skills?
To get the feedback, because sometimes you know, if according to me, when someone says something, you don't have to rely on that verbal communication, you have to observe non-verbal communication as well। if you are an expert in that area, you know, कई मर्तबा जैसे मैं एक्सपर्ट में गया, लोग बोलेंगे ही इज अ वेरी ग्रेट मैन, लेकिन उसका बोलने का तरीका क्या मुझे पता चल गया, राइट। व्हेन आई वांट टू कंग्रेचुलेट अ स्टूडेंट, लेकिन मेरे दिल में ऐसा हो रहा है कि यार ये तो गलत तरीके से सिलेक्ट हो गया, तो that person can understand कि the person is not happy. So when you communicate with someone, try to observe non-verbal elements as well, and if you can get that, that would be a great achievement being a communicator.
Sir, can I ask something?
Yeah, please, Umar.
Sir, suppose there's a situation where someone talking about something in a group discussion or something which we completely disagree, but what we do there is get agree with him or
No,
get disagree with him in a
why?
rude
If you
rude.
disagree, no, if you disagree with something, or if you disagree with someone, there is a polite way to show your disagreement.
Yeah, yeah,
There is a
yeah, sir.
polite
Or
way.
what we do is we disagree in a rude way. So, what's the polite way? How to do it in a polite manner?
I mean, when you disagree, there must be some reasons, particularly when you take part in GD. Obviously, you come up with your agreement or disagreement with some solid, support. It can be statistical information, it can be some examples, it can be some authentic news items which are available to you. So, keeping those things in the discussion first, you can say that, yes, these are the things based on which I disagree with you. This is very simple, Umar.
Yeah, yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
But
So,
what other person is doing is sticking to his point
No
and
problem.
not understanding the facts what we are telling.
No. See, everyone has a right to stick to his or her ideas. If you disagree, your disagreement is actually your agreement to your thoughts, isn't it?
Yes,
Your
sir.
agreement. So on the other hand, if there is Vasim Kureshi on the other hand, I'll feel that you are very stubborn in sticking to your thoughts. So it is vice versa. And that is the game of this group discussion.
Yes, I got it, sir.
Yeah, you cannot raise your voice, raise your arguments.
Yes, sir.
And by supporting things, you can make the person agree with you or agree with the idea. Again, it is not you who is important, it is the argument that you are making, and just focusing on that thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
thank you, student. At the end, I just request Vasim sir to please give your number so that if anybody having any query, so they can message or they can mail to you.
Okay,
So
so my email ID is already shared, VASEEM underscore QURESHI at vdecg.ac.in. I have shared my email ID in the chat box.
yes.
Right? So feel free to communicate, right? I'm available on Facebook, Insta, WhatsApp, Twitter, LinkedIn. So you can get connection from anywhere, right?
Okay. So thank you, dear student. At the end, from behalf of Professor Ram Meghe College of Engineering and Management, I would like to thank Dr. Vasim Kureshi sir. You have explained in a nice manner about the communication and how make that communication is effective. Your tips on listening, speaking, writing, okay, that help our student a lot, and I am very much sure that student get benefited from your session, sir. So once again I would like to thank you, and I Dr. Rishad Beg would like to conclude this session here. After 30 minutes of break, the classes will be goes on regular basis. So thank you, speaker. Thank you
Thank
so
you very
much.
much. And thank you very much to my dear students who have, made a marvelous day for me. A wonderful discussion at the end. Thank you, the institute. Thank you, the principal and Big Sub. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So
Thank you.
with this note, we are signing off. Thank you so much. Deshmukh sir, we can